Hello and
Hi,
welcome to
wisdom for menopause and beyond.
where we
So,
talk about people in midlife, women,
insights, yeah,
insights,
midlife
midlife,
and
things
beyond.
that we think are really useful. We find them useful. When we
Mm.
start talking to lots of our clients about things, we think, oh, let's share it out here.
So, yeah,
So
and
we
of course, the other thing that we do is on the website, which is we have courses about for women who are planning, going through past menopause,
because
things
we
like that.
think postmenopause is such a wonderful place. We'd like you to get there nice and easy.
Yes,
Nice, simple
get there
journey.
easy. Yeah.
So we kind of make no apology for this in a way because we talked about stress and anxiety. A lot of people talk about stress and
Yeah, I
anxiety.
know. And I think the thing was this, we talked about it a few weeks ago. And
Mm,
I think this is a bit of a follow-up. So if you looked at one of the episodes a few weeks back, when I realized I was getting anxious about going on holiday, I mean, how
yeah.
ridiculous was that? And I talked about how that was happening. And what actually happened was it was ridiculous, really, because we were driving on the way to the airport, and I'd contacted the person. I'd done that thing where you stay somewhere and then they're going to park your car up for a week and everything like that. And it was somewhere that we hadn't used before. And then I was thinking, oh, fine, fine, fine. And in a way, because we'd had that conversation, I'd had a thought of, and I just happened to open up Google Maps or whatever it was, and it said, oh, so on the airport, there's a hotel, and then there's parking at the airport. So actually, anything can be solved if you throw a credit card at it. But I was like, it'll all be fine. It'll be fine. Anyway, we arrive at this place. We knock on the door. Guy comes to the door, and I go, oh, Wayne, whatever. And he goes, no, Wayne died suddenly a couple of days ago.
This
I'm
is
like,
a cheerful video.
what? But it was just like, how can I have, worried myself into that situation? And then it was awful. But then actually the guy said, oh, if you go with that, and we got another room, and it all sorted itself out. But it was that whole thing. I did feel that, having had that conversation about how I was getting more anxious, and we were saying, oh, actually, it's not just me, it's everybody as you get older, and for a variety of reasons. And I think I posted something about it, and people going, yes, I've had that too. So it was quite funny to find there was a reason to be anxious. But actually,
but it was solvable.
It was solvable. So yeah, and you were saying about how you've got some clients at the moment that are kind of going through difficult times, and you've found some really useful and practical things you can do, which don't take up a lot of time,
no,
but actually are quite grounding.
So it doesn't
helpful,
matter if it's the stress of going on holiday, the stress of leaving a long-term partner, the stress of moving or downsizing, or whatever's going on, or even you can find in menopause or around menopause, you can suddenly have those stressy feelings
and beyond, yes.
and beyond, that you've not had before because of different chemical changes. Yeah. So I've found this sort of practical thing that I suggest to people, and we thought we'd share it. So you can either do it first thing in the morning, which is what I suggest, or you can do it a couple of times a day. But first of all, there's breathing. Breathing is useful. Yeah, a lot of people think I can do that. I could do that. I've been doing that for many years. Yeah. But it's a very common yoga breathing, but people forget about it. And you can do it when at work or if you're driving, but you breathe in. I would say 6, but you breathe in for a certain number. I don't like the term hold, because hold means you hold your breath. So I think you just pause for half the number of breaths, breathe out for your number, and then pause again. So I recommend a nice number to start with if you're not into this in a big time is about 6. So it's about 1 second. They say in yoga the same beat as your heart. But it's second. So you breathe in for 6. And I always think of it as a square. So you're breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold or pause for 3. 1, 2, 3. Out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and pause, and think of it as going around a square. And even then you can feel how long that feels doing it. And it's just, if you're in the middle of your job, you can just do it. And if you're counting, it just takes that little voice away, because And it's
awful.
So just counting and just listening to your breath, perhaps tune into your heartbeat. Very often, if you have got a clock in the background, do it to the tick of the clock.
Yeah.
Do it to something like that. And if you can do 3 rounds, great. If you can do more, brilliant. So when you wake up in the morning, this is sort of like your morning routine. So you can do that.
It's like just kind of starting the day.
Just start the day
in that way of without that busy,
because before
that
you know,
list of things that you do.
Exactly.
Let's just do this.
So when you wake up in the day and you think, oh, damn it, it's cold, is it raining? Do I need double R? Just think, stop. I will think of that, but I'm just going to take a minute.
Yeah.
And another thing that you can do with breathing, which is it's harder to do, and it is best perhaps not to do it in that, you know, sitting up is good. You want a straight spine, but it's just something while we're talking about breathing to put into the mix, which is you breathe in. And if you sort of imagine filling a sack with air, you breathe in as much as you can, and people breathe in. And then you get there and they go, that's it. And if you just allow that breath to sit there, it sort of dissipates from the lungs a little bit into the blood and just sits in the body. And then you can breathe in some more. And then you can breathe in some more. So you sort of breathe, wait, breathe in again, wait. And if you feel panicky, just wait. And then you breathe in again. So you only wait a second or two. And you don't realize how much more room there is. So it's expanding the lungs, calming the brain, but actually oxygenating the blood. It's a really useful. And then when you breathe out, it's the opposite. So you breathe out and think of like rolling up the toothpaste. You're breathing out, empty, 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 empty. And if you just wait a minute, suddenly there's room to breathe out a bit more and a bit more. And if you can do that once a day, and you can do that before you go to bed, or if you can in the morning, that's really useful.
Breathing, so that's really good. So that's a good way to start.
Now that's really good, not just for that anxiety, but it's good. It's good for youth. It's good for keeping you young. It's good for the blood, good for the skin.
Yeah,
it's actually an all-round good thing.
Yeah.
Then I think
talking about meditation or some kind of creative visualization, really.
So pick one of those in the morning to do breathing.
Yeah.
If you can do both, fine, but I don't think so. I think pick one that works for you.
Yeah.
Meditation, and this is where I think you need to set a timer. Set a timer for a minute, because otherwise you'll think your mind will constantly be on time.
Yes.
So we're talking 1 minute, and I say you can do anything for a minute. You can do anything for 1 minute. So the first thing is that meditation on a really happy place where you've been to in the
talked about
past.
that, haven't you? Saying that thing about people remember. Can you remember an incident when you were just really happy? Really happy. Doesn't have to be anything deep or meaningful.
No, it can be. It can be the moon and the stars and the sun setting. Good for you if
when
it is.
When did you feel that joy? When you just feel joy?
I can't tell you it was on the birth of my children, because I thought it was awful.
I know.
It was hard work.
Afterwards.
But fine. But it was
the
just
first
like
cup of tea afterwards. That was good.
So, but I've had people come saying, when I got very, very drunk with my friend, and we were just laughing our socks off. And we kept falling off the bar stools, and it was just, we couldn't stop laughing. Or somebody went back to childhood when they played a little prank on somebody that they thought was really funny, or whatever it is. But it's got to be, makes you smile, even if you don't mean to.
And I think it's also that thing of, I mean, this is a bit of an NLP thing, is it's almost like, can you put yourself in that situation? Can you remember what it felt like?
It's the feeling.
Can you feel it in your body?
So you're not remembering it, you're feeling
it in your body, and does it help to, what could you smell, what could you hear, what you see? Those things are good you can.
If you can. I can remember an incident when me and my brother, we were probably about 5 or 6 or something, and we went round to this posh relative, I can't remember, but she always spoke in a very cocktail accent, and she always did butterscotch sauce, and we had this sort of whole thing in the family. And then amazingly, we went round and we were sitting at this posh dinner table, and she said, does anyone want butterscotch sauce? And me and my brother just sort of, I think my mum smacked us so hard, and we still couldn't stop laughing, because she was going, I don't know what I'm laughing at. And she knew, but it was just so funny. And anyway, you take that one incident.
And
that's
a minute.
And you sit with it.
That's
for
something
1
in the past
minute
that you really experienced joy. Right.
And then something, just imagine yourself in the future. And it doesn't have to be, I've just won a thing, or I've got promotion at work. No. it's I don't know, a 1930s wicker swing seat on a beach in the sun, and you're dressed in the most amazing outfit with a big colourful hat, a pina colada
in a pineapple.
Yeah. And you're just sitting there and feeling calm, feeling happy.
Yeah.
You could be whatever, it doesn't matter what that is, but it can't be, it's got to be ridiculous.
Right.
Make it crazy, make it colourful, make it weird.
Yeah. And that's another minute.
And that's 1 minute.
Okay.
And I actually think if you breathe for 1 or 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, breathing for 1 or 2 minutes, that's quite useful.
Consciously breathing. And then the meditation, it really changes your mindset for the day.
And then you're set up.
And then you're set up for the day. So that's one thing to do. And you can do the breathing anytime during the day. But the other...
And the third thing that you said was you found a list of affirmations.
List of
affirmations are, it's one of those things out there, isn't there, really?
Yeah.
And it's like I've got some, as I say, I've got things above my desk, which I'm just going to read. And as I say, mine is, it doesn't matter where you go in life as long as you go to the beach. That's my thing that I have in my office.
Yeah.
So that if I kind of get really, really, if it's stressy, if it's something kind of going on, the rest of it all I have, and it's like, well, actually, do I just need to go to the beach then for 10 minutes, whatever it is, just go to the beach.
But it's got to be something that you remember
do every day. Yeah.
And something that, exactly, you don't have to think, what was it? It was meditation 151 today. I'm just trying to remember what that was. So it's got to be something that sits
right.
with
you. Found a good list.
I've got a good list.
This book, wasn't it? So good old Florence Scovel Shinn collection and different things. And so you had some affirmations from them. Yeah.
So there's a couple about happiness. So if you're feeling like life's a bit against you and perhaps you're thinking about leaving a relationship or whether you should do it, and you're really caught on, will I ever be happy again? Can I ever feel happiness? You don't have to feel it. This is the most important thing about this, is you just say it. So I've just written a couple here. I have wonderful joy in a wonderful way, and wonderful joy has come to stay.
Oh.
Which is a kind of a nice, and if you can remember it and as a loop, you can keep repeating it.
It's a bit like I do magical work for Magical Pets.
That's it.
Which I think is I've taken a bit from Florence.
And it's like, my happiness is built upon a rock. It is mine now and for all eternity.
Oh, yes.
My good now flows to me in a steady, unbroken, ever-increasing stream of happiness. And my endless good now comes to me in endless ways. And they're small, but you don't have to feel happy. You don't think, oh, this is good, it's getting better.
It just is.
It just is. And you just repeat it. And what it does, it just reprograms the mind. So any tiny chink of happiness that comes along, your mind's ready to receive it.
Right.
Whereas if you're very stressed, very anxious,
I think it's always going to be awful.
It bounces off. So it's almost opening the door ready for little bits, which then build up more.
So that's good. So that's the kind of, hopefully that's like a few things you can do in a small amount of time that might just set your day. So breathing consciously, that meditation, 1 minute, something joyful from the past, 1 minute, putting yourself
in a ridiculously
wonderful, amazing, that same feeling, but in the future. And then thirdly, finding an affirmation,
any affirmation
that you quite like, that you feel something on. But as I say, you don't have to believe it, you don't have to feel that one.
If you're
that's just about wanting to be ready to get that.
There's one more that I quite like, that if you're feeling really, I don't know, I'm really stuck, and it's there are no lost opportunities in the universal energy of life. A bit long, but there's no lost opportunities. You can leave it there, or you can open it. As one door shuts, another door opens. And I quite like that, because when you are feeling a little bit anxious about something, or you're going for a job interview and you're thinking this is too much, it's like there's no lost opportunities.
I know. And it's interesting, because I was having a conversation with one of my tutees the other day, and she just had the most horrible, I'd say probably about three or 4 months. And it was like, and it kind of like, a relationship ended. I mean, she was about to get married, and then it all just blew up in the face. It was just horrible. And so that was horrible. She had to move out of her house, all sorts of things were kind of going on. And then she kind of thought she sorted that out. And then she gets to work and she's been made redundant.
Perfect.
So you're like, great.
So this
and
is
I did have that thing of, I said, you know, you won't want to hear this. You know, it's that bit of thing I always say. It was a Mother Teresa thing where she always said, I know, you know, God doesn't give me things unless I can deal with them. Sometimes I wish he was a little less confident in me.
Yeah.
But all right, you are going to deal with this. And I've had those situations where, and it is that awful thing that the worst it can be, and then it gets worse. Yes. And somehow it's that the worse that is, the most and more amazing the breakthrough. So you don't want to hear it at the time.
But if you can repeat these.
But so sometimes about being ready to get to the other side, and it will be.
And if you're struggling with
amazing.
that moment by moment, that's where you can do your breathing. But you can't do anything else. And just repeat your mantras. So it's really only about 3 minutes at a time. Yeah. And the rest of it is all day. So there we are.
So play with those things and see how that works for you.